fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome, one and all, to the iRacing Esports Network this wonderful Wednesday night. It's time for a wonderful Wednesday night series that has been going on for a fair while now, and it just keeps getting better and better. It's the Alpinestars Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia, presented by ourselves here at SimSpeed TV. Of course, as you can see on the screen, round 6 of the series at Road America, and this is going to be a proper sprint format. It's going to be 2 races tonight of reduced length. It's going to be an absolutely jam-packed night of action. Reese Gardner here, as you can see the details up on screen. David Haynes with me in the commentary box. This is an interesting circuit to go to for a sprint race, David.
Yeah, certainly one of the longer length laps that we'll get to in the season. 6.4 kilometers. That's getting close to how long Spa-Francorchamps is. We know that is a big old circuit. So this is going to be a good one though. 20-minute races, no pit stops expected. Everyone can start the race with enough fuel to get to the end. It's just a fight in the forest. And some people don't enjoy driving this track. I like driving it and I love watching the racing here. It's always good. We've got plenty of tough braking zones, like towards Canada Corner, like towards Turn 5. We've got the sweeping carousel, we've got the fast kink. We've got plenty going on. There's always plenty of action and it's high speed.
Yeah, certainly is. Slipstream Valley here at Road America on those very long straights. This track's layout has not changed in the slightest, at least the layout we're running on, since the track opened in the 1950s. So there's a lot of history at this place, a lot of challenge. It does seem like a simple track from looking at the map, but once you're out there on the tarmac, it becomes an entirely different animal. Ross Rizzo on screen at the moment as we come towards the end of our warm-up session. Qualifying has already run. We're going to get going for 2 20-minute races tonight with a very large field.
Yeah, exactly. So the fastest time in this warm-up is John Peasnick. We were watching Ross Rizzo, defending champion, driving for Trick Sim Sports, and a team that's been very, very bolstered by some new signings recently. They've gone from being plucky little team to now seriously one of the biggest challengers in this series. They've picked up new signings like Trent Thomas, and I think there was a point last week where they had 7 of the cars in the top 10. Trick Sim Sports have become a GT powerhouse, not just in this series, but in other places as well. They'll be one to watch. They're very, very good at playing their cards clever, being smart racers, not just quick drivers.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Martin Silvassi, of course, on screen at the moment, one of those guys at Trick Sim Sports. And they are looking extremely good in the championship standings. We don't have them for you at the moment, but suffice to say, the championship fight is very close. We've got multiple drivers in contention for this one. We enter the last 90 seconds of this session. Peasnick pulling over to jump out. That's his teammate there, Reese Gasul, currently in position 2 on the timesheet. So Element Motorsports getting their warm-up session off to a very good run as the timer comes to an end. They could definitely be contenders here.
Yeah, if they're running their race setup right now, those are some good lap times. There's only 3 warm-up times right now under the 2-minute mark. So that's certainly going to be a little bit of a benchmark in these GTE cars to aim for.
Yeah, certainly is. And right here you can see an example of the kind of slipstreaming battles that we may very well see. Was Brett Cananzi, I believe, getting by another car at the at Canada corner? No, it's Mark Rayner. My apologies. Still getting used to all the new liveries people are running this year, passing Matt Huppertz. And that final section... Go on, David,
with
sorry.
some sort of New Year's resolutions, new year, new me, new paint going on. A lot of driver swaps have happened since the start of the year, and a lot of teams love to come out with a new, fresh coat of paint, start the new year sort of on a fresh foot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A lot of drivers getting all freshed up. Adam Briggs, championship leader of the Oceanic Formula 3 series, currently in 4th place in session right now, and he's definitely shown a lot of potential in this one as well in his Ford GT as the session comes to an end, and we will get the standings, the starting grid up for you presently. So starting in position 1 for round 6 of the series, we do have John Peasnick, Anthony Winkleman joining him on the first row, but Peasnick's got a rear gunner there, Reese Gasol in 3rd with Ross Rizzo in 4th, Dylan Shepard and Trent Thomas on row 3. Cody Bertram, Martin Silvassi on row 4. That is an entire section of the grid taken up by trick cars. 1 row. Skoselovsky breaks it with Reese Keane, and we move on to the rest, David.
Yeah, exactly. 11th place is Corey Ott. 12th is Adam Briggs, who we were just talking about. 13th, Daniel Cheney. 14th, Cameron Stubber. 15th is Mitch Martin. 16th is Ryan Jerrick. 17th is Joshua Burden. 18th, Brett Cananzi. 19th, Richard Hunter. And 20th is Mitchell McLeod.
In 21st, we got Mark Rayner and Aaron Farmer joining him on on that particular row, row 11. Justin Strickland and Hayden Dodman next up for talkinc.com.au. Nino Natal and David Jellings, with Mulhall and Brown right behind them, and the top 30 rounded out by Huxham and Mr. Misdale as the drivers start pulling away.
Yep, exactly. 31st goes to Nathan Connor. 32nd, recently privateered Brock Cadai. 33rd, as I look down my timing sheet, goes to Pat Gallo. 34th is Josh Andrew. 35th is Gary Cousins. 36th, Matt Hoppitz. 37th, Phil Gadd. 38th, Alex Court. 39th, Jackson Suzlin Harlow. Gee, that's quite a bit further down than we'd expect the young TTL esports driver to be. So definitely we'll have to keep an eye on him potentially coming through the field. 40th is Stephen Bartholomew. Just got a couple more cars, so I'll round them out. 41st, David Farrelly. 42nd, Paul Nichols. And 43rd, Chris Holly, as they're all out there for what's going to be a full lap of that 6.4 kilometers before we get the green flag.
Yes, indeed. Well, this is a good opportunity for us to explore at a slow pace what this Road America circuit is like from the viewpoint of the iRacing Roof RT12R safety car. In this particular section, bearing to driver's right and then to driver's left as they run down to one of the first heavy braking zones on the circuit. It's very bumpy, walls on both sides. It opens up a little bit as you get more towards the turn-in point, but it's still a very awkward spot.
Yeah, indeed. And you can use a little bit of that bitumen paving concrete out there, but not too much, because you will pick up an off-track incident point. You pick up too many of those in these series, it's going to cost you. There's, I believe, championship standings penalty points for picking up too many incidents in a race, and a few drivers fallen foul of that. Not many. If you're having a clean race, you don't really have to worry about it. But around here, there is a few places you can pick up an off-track or two without guaranteeing yourself a race-ending incident. You can slowly rack them up as you're racing if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Easy to do around a track like this. Drivers going through the hurry downs and then through here to the carousel. This is one of the most iconic turns in American motorsports. It's very difficult to get right in any car, but in these GTE cars with just the right balance of mechanical grip and downforce, they really need to make sure they hit their marks through that, almost double apex it. But then here, the most terrifying corner on the circuit, the kink. And that chicane going off there to the side should tell you enough about what other motorsport categories have thought about this particular turn.
Yep, indeed. In a GTE machine, I'm pretty confident that'll be flat out, but I don't think you will be able to confidently do it flat out too wide like you can in some other cars. You have to be careful through there, and you have to carry as much momentum as possible, because it leads down this long back stretch to what's probably one of the last big overtaking spots on the lap. Tough braking zone here into Canada corner, and again, one of those corners where there's an inviting amount of runoff on the exit to try and help you carry some speed through the corner, but you can't go too far. If you find yourself carrying too much speed with two wheels on the dirt, we've seen races end in that corner.
We absolutely have, and then we have this final section of the corner, up over the hill and through to the final turn. Interesting line here, good passing spot, but now the drivers will put that to the back of their minds. They'll be thinking about this first lap of the race. Piesnik's going to lead the field away as the safety car comes in. It's up to him when he goes. They'll get the green flag as they come up over the crest, but Piesnik can go whenever he likes, and he goes. Gasol catches on and follows him, but he's starting to get squeezed there by Winkelmann. My goodness, very close at the front. Barely enough space given right at the start for Reece Gasol, but Winkelmann giving him the room there once again. Gasol's having
Ferrari in the wall back there. Only looked like a one-car incident. Clean up the front here, but dramas for who's that at the back? Nathan Connor. He went very hard into the wall, but we're looking further up. Dylan Shepherd just get weeded out there by Reece Gasol, and now look at that huge Porsche in the mirrors who wants to have a go into turn 5.
Woohoo! Goodness me, that's Cody Bircher behind him there. Shepherd going mega defensive as they come into the first hard braking zone of the circuit. Shepherd right up the inside of Reece Gasol, locking up. He's managed to get it going. Gasol, I think, in a little bit of trouble there on the opening lap, and seems like a couple other guys in trouble too. Daniel Kenny, unfortunately, having been forced wide as the leaders start coming through to the hurry down. Silowski, that's going to be side-by-side contact between, is that Gasol there and Trent Thomas. My goodness, these guys are putting nothing on the table. Remember, they do only have 20 minutes with which to do this. Gasol up the inside once again through the carousel. Thomas, I think, didn't have many options there. He was out on the marbles. Oh, goodness me, who was that?
I'm not
that was
sure.
Selassie, I believe,
Yeah.
and Corey Ott right on the back of him there as they go through the kink for the first time. Goodness me, you see this much in a whole race at Road America sometimes, this much action. Gasol and Thomas still going at it, but Gasol looks like he's a bit of a cork in the bottle right now.
Yeah, and the top three close as well. Piesnik leading Winkelmann. Ross Rizzo has grabbed a spot from Reece Gasol. He's now in third, falling behind his teammate. And the gap that Piesnik's got up the hill, down the longest straight of the circuit, just 4/10. They're all in a line all the way back. Turn 1's a fast sweeping corner, but you absolutely can make moves to the inside there.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Cody Bircher is trying that right now there on Dylan Shepherd. Shepherd lets him go. A little bit of an over-under brewing, but not quite. Very possible there. We've got a car off in turn 1. That's Adam Briggs just coming back onto the circuit there in the top left of the frame. That's not going to be very useful for him, but racing continuing well and truly for everybody else. Shepherd and Bircher on their own, but we take a look at Corey Ott and Martin Silvassi briefly. We haven't said that. Look at
Too many places to look, isn't there, Reece?
Oh, hang on a minute.
Ott going very, very deep on the brakes. He'll get away with that, but someone behind won't. That's a... oh my goodness, that is a huge
There's a few cars involved there. Oh, goodness me. That's awkward. Very awkward. That is going to deserve at least one replay. Plenty of cars involved. Yeah, that's very awkward. The guys are going to have a lot of trouble getting that going. There's still a driver stuck in the middle of the track. There's still drivers getting taken by surprise by that.
Yeah, my goodness, nearly 10 cars, I'm sure, got some kind of contact through all of that. Not sure where it started. We'll get a look for sure, see what on earth happened, because here we're looking at Briggs. Behind is Stubber. Stubber might not have known that that Fusion Sim Racing car was on his inside, and then it's all happened from there. There was a second coming together with one of the Ferraris behind that as well. Mitchell McLeod in there, and I think Kananzi as well. And then trying to sort that out through rush hour was not working very well at all.
No, certainly wasn't. Josh Burden continued to have another problem further down the track, actually. It was Mitch Martin, I noticed, as Corey problems.
Canada corner, that thing is crabbing badly. Huge damage on the right rear. How has he done that between the kink and Canada corner? Here comes a replay that'll hopefully tell us.
Yeah, well, let's have a look. Daniel Misdale we're looking at there, but oh, goodness me. Caught him just as that incident was happening. So here we are. We'll see what happened here. Coming out of Carousel, everything seems fine. But once you enter the kink, oh, I just caught the grass on the outside into the wall. Almost took cars with him.
He got too much curbing. I think he got too much curbing on the apex. I think he nearly beached that thing being too greedy. The wiggle happened earlier in the corner than the getting the wheels on the outside grass. Looking at the lead here though, Piesnik not getting away from Winkleman.
No, certainly not. Winkleman's keeping Piesnik very, very honest here. Remember, these guys are some of the main contenders for the title. And it's been a difficult season, very difficult to get going for a few drivers that were absolute powerhouses last season, in particular Luis Polo Gallon, who is not at this race. That looks like a very exciting little battle pack there. Meanwhile, Justin Strickland in 11th place, trying to fight with Reese Keane. They've got a couple of guys following them there. That is quite interesting.
Just carousel because the horses go too wide. It seems like doesn't work out for Strickland. I think the outside, it's difficult to hold it around there. The inside works through the carousel. Reese Keane is going to get away, and Strickland is going to have some pressure from behind.
Yeah, certainly, but that pressure has pressure in and of itself. Aaron Farmer really facing pressure from Hayden Dodman, who was facing pressure from David Jellings. So all of these guys wanting that same position. They are fighting for 11th place here. And this could make all the difference towards the end of the season. These guys don't want to make any too large mistakes, because that'll affect their championship points down the line. But this draft train, you only usually see that sort of thing on an oval circuit, but Road America always turning it up.
Yeah, there's 3 proper solid long straights around here, and each of those in these cars, if you line it up perfect with the car in front, as once again we see Strickland and Keane going for a battle, you line it up, the slipstream can be very powerful. And in fact, if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say Justin Strickland has managed to use that down the main straight, get himself past Reese Keane, but now it's Keane in that second seat, grabbing the slipstream from the Ferrari, coming down towards turn 5, closing. What's the DPR racing driver gonna do? Gonna go to the inside. This is a difficult one. It still holds the inside, but I think the momentum goes to Strickland around the outside, and that's closed them all up.
Yeah, have a look at that. That's Aaron Farmer there. We currently ride on board with him. Struggling to find a little bit of room. And Farmer now under big pressure there from, I believe that's Dodman. Yeah, that's Dodman that we're looking at the moment. That's quite the quite the interesting battle pack that we're seeing there through the carousel. A little bit of aero push affecting these guys if they follow each other a little too closely, but that's not going to be too much of a problem, I think, for these guys. They've been fighting with each other enough that they're a little bit off the pace and losing ground to the guys in front.
And just look at that 10 carriage train. I mean, seriously, not a whole lot to separate these guys. Someone's gone wide.
That's Keane.
DPR. It's gone very, very wide indeed.
Yeah, he actually got on the brakes a bit late. Almost went into the back of Strickland. So he's rapidly recovering from that one, or attempting to at least. We're going to grab a replay of that incident. Coming down into Canada corner. So Keane and Strickland were the two big players in this battle. You can see the run that Keane has got here. Looked like an amazing run, and it was almost an out-braking maneuver. Just got on the brakes a bit too late. Had to go straight on, try and avoid getting into the back of Strickland.
Strickland was very lucky not to get caught up in that any closer. He probably would have been turned around. Still on further up. Reese Gasol, Dylan Shepherd and Trent Thomas, my God, into the wall with the nose, front right. It's going to be damage there for Reese Gasol.
Oh no.
Saying a little bit of contact got avoided and some's happened there, and also TJ Brown. So 20 minutes doesn't mean no action. It's happening everywhere.
Yeah, certainly. And that happened because Gasol attempting to put a move and Shep redressing that one. It all happened because Gasol attempted the move on Shepherd, and then on the exit, Shepherd got into the back of him and spun him. So we'll see what happened there. Gasol gets by under brakes, but Shepherd with extra pace just gets into the back of him and sends him loose. Meanwhile, it's on for the lead.
Yeah, looking back up to the front because Anthony Winkleman is not being shaken by John Peasnick. I don't think these two have been separated by more than about 6/10 all race. Now look at that, it's about 3/10. Winkleman just needs to set up a really good run out of that last corner.
Yeah, that's all he needs to do. A couple of issues further back for Cody Bircher. He just ran a little bit wide out of the last turn, but Winkleman and Mr. Peasnick fighting very hard here, and you can see the run that Winkleman is starting to get. He's just staying in that slipstream. That's what you need to do at a place like this. Stay in touch with the guy in front. Maybe you'll be able to fire one up the inside later on in the race. They haven't got much time though. They've just gone under 10 minutes to go. 9 minutes 30 now.
Yep, that'll be 6 laps to go, and we watch that Christmas tree light up on the Porsche dash, and be counting on some presents will Anthony Winkleman if he's going to get down the inside here. A little bit premature, but he might force Peasnick into running it a bit deep. It's just getting exciting now.
Yeah, Peasnick seems to have gotten to him a little bit. He did go a bit too deep in the braking zone. So now they are bumper to bumper. A little bit of a slide rover rotation from Peasnick in the middle of that kink. Through hurry downs. Seems like Peasnick has just managed to get himself back together there, but tell Winkleman is just being consistent. This is the aim of the game for Anthony. Stay in those mirrors, unsettle him, see what can happen.
Good run for both of them through the kink. This is the third straight on the circuit where the car behind just closes up, gets a couple of tenths for free for being the second place car, but it's not enough for Winkleman because Peasnick is quick and Winkleman is using all of the track, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is, and Peasnick is working that wheel pretty hard as well, so pressure getting to both of these guys at the moment.
Later turn in, later apex for Winkleman this time. He's a lot closer than last lap, and Peasnick knows it because he's gone to the center of the track. He's going to try and defend this. It's on Reese.
Yeah, certainly is. No room over to driver's right, so Winkleman is going to have to take the outside line here. Coming into turn 1, Peasnick going defensive. Has he gone too deep? Just a little. But you can definitely tell Winkleman now is right there. He is going to possibly get it done on Peasnick in the next couple of laps, if not right here at the next braking zone. They've got the run. He's got the run. Peasnick trying to go defensive once again, sticking almost to the middle, forcing Winkleman to go to what will be the outside for the next corner. Oh, a bit narrow for Peasnick, but he's managing to keep it together. Very good defensive driving, I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. Peasnick's putting the car right where he needs to. Winkleman tried to cross it back up the hill, but he just didn't quite have the momentum on that short straight that connects those two corners. Now he's lost some of the ground that he had. He's trying to close it back. Get a little look in the background there. I think Cody Bircher is also closing Ross Rizzo for third. This battle for 5th and 6th is looking spicy as well between the Trick Sim Sports teammates. So it's action all the way in the top 6, not to mention basically all the way down the entire field.
Yeah, certainly. That battle for 11th and 12th still very much on. Aaron Farmer followed closely by Hayden Dodman there behind Justin Strickland. But these two up the front, they're not letting each other go. Winkleman really pushing hard now.
Yep, using all of the circuit and then a little bit more. He'll get away with doing that once or twice, but he can't do that every lap. And this battle I was talking about for 3rd place, Rizzo's last lap must have been a bit scruffy. A 2-minute 0.6 was the last lap for Bircher, a 2-minute dead. Bircher pulled nearly 6/10 out of him last lap, and now he's that distance back where he's just getting a little bit of the slipstream. It's about 8/10 or so. Yeah, you get the confirmation there on your screen, and that's about where you start feeling it. You get to the end of the straight and you see there's about 100, 150 extra RPM on the dash, and you know you're flying along.
Yeah, certainly. Silvassi's just gotten through on his teammate, Mr. Thomas. But I've come upon a battle very far down in the field. The battle for 38th position. Oh, goodness me. Just briefly, though, we take a look at that 11th and 12th place battle and the fight behind them. That is getting rather interesting. Cars together in the same bit of racetrack. But I do think 38th place is worth having a look at because it's two guys who have had a very tough time in this one. Corey Ott and Josh Burden. They gotten their cars repaired somewhat, and they are really fighting hard for what is now one of the... Oh my goodness! Mitchell McLeod. Big problems for him right in front of them. And now, Burden and Ott find themselves in the middle of a traffic jam.
Yeah, precisely. 2 cars in front of Burden there that he really wants to get through. We see it from Ott's perspective. They're almost going to go 3 wide. I think Ott is cleverly keeping just the right amount of space.
Goodness me, that was Joshua Andrew right there. Unfortunately, getting tagged by Mitch McLeod under brakes. I think Andrew was moving over a bit far, to be completely fair to McLeod.
Look, it was difficult to see from that onboard of Ott, but it's also very possible that he was braking just a little bit earlier than Mitch McLeod was maybe expecting. It was solid battles. I was saying it all the way down the field, and that was the 38th position that we were looking at. Now get back to the pointier end because...
Who's that? Oh, that's a bad spot. That is a very bad spot. That's just past the exit of the King. Down the back straight, David Mulhall, unfortunately, with a problem. We'll go to a quick replay of that one, David. And while that's happened, Keen and Cat-Eye have come together as well, so we'll check in on those guys. David Mulhall, just catching the grass on the Kink's exit, and that is enough to unsettle the car. Coming to a stop, my goodness! Oh my god! That was...
Tell you, an onboard from Cat-A's perspective, I think would tell us a lot.
Yeah.
From where the car had been lost in front of him, took a long time to put the brakes on. The car then rolled back onto the circuit. I think Cat-A was probably expecting that car was going to stay to the left. This is going to be a Brown moment, I expect.
Yeah, bring Brock's brown pants. My goodness. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't laugh. That's a really bad thing to have happen to someone, but my goodness. I have no words for that, David. My goodness.
Yeah, he just saw the car rolling onto the track in front of him, successfully avoided that, and the moment he gets through, his focus is at a Ferrari pointing the wrong way, all 6 lights like a spider right at him, and he's reached for a newspaper, but...
Oh, not another!
That's second place!
Winkleman!
From second place! He spun it around. How on earth has he done that? No, he's reversed into the barrier, but he was in the battle for the lead. Now he's sideways on the track in front of some of his teammates. Here's how that happened. Pushing very, very hard. Try and catch up to Piesnik for the potential win of this race. What does he do through the kink? This is a real trouble spot in these cars.
Yeah, what does he do? Loses in the middle of the corner. Tried to get on the brakes just to save it. And... fortunately, people had the presence of mind to avoid him. Something has also happened to Aaron Farmer. We're staying with the replay to see what happened to him. Remember, Farmer was having some of his own troubles in those big fights down in the midfield. So this may be another case of, oh, hold up. My goodness.
Talk about living up to his name. He's gone straight through the fields.
Yeah, he's doing a bit of mowing there to plant his crops.
It's
Unfortunate
an esport now.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. Unfortunate technical issue for Aaron Farmer, but Cody Bircher, one of the big movers here, had just gotten through on Ross Rizzo. Rizzo is attempting to get that back. Look at how close they're getting, and Rizzo, unfortunately, bit of side-by-side contact. He's come to a stop as well. Not a good day for Trick Sim Sports at all.
Yeah, 1 minute left in this race. It's high drama out there. Rizzo, I think, will, get back out there, not lose too many spots, but that was clearly just the teeniest rub while the car was fully on the brakes and about to turn in. It caught him by surprise and is just kept out of too much heavy contact with the wall. And it goes back to this battle for 7th place here as Briggs, Gasol and Dylan Shepherd, some quick drivers, potential championship contenders. It's all on, and there's going to be one more lap to this race 1 of tonight's racing. When they cross the line next time, it will be the white flag.
Indeed, Peasnick just through Canada corner. As we focus on him at the moment, all on his lonesome out at the front. That's pretty much the optimum scenario for him. We're just going through the top 10 here. Trent Thomas with some issues. Solowski still running well in 5th. Rizzo recovering. Adam Briggs has stayed rather consistent, making his way up from 12th to 7th. Reese Gasol, one of the bigger losers out of the top 10. Dylan Shepherd as well with problems, and Winkleman, my goodness, battling for the lead and now having to settle for the back end of the top 10.
Yeah, massively unfortunate. And Reese Gasol's also not had particularly clean race, and he's closing in Adam Briggs there. In fact, he's closing in quite a bit on what's one of the few Ford GTs at the pointy end of the field. That's probably the easiest way to spot Briggs, and Gasol's going to go deep on the brakes. He's not close enough to fluster Briggs this time, and if Gasol keeps doing that, he's going to lose time, and Shepherd behind will then be having a go at him.
Yeah, certainly. Pressure is on all of these guys, but in different ways. As they have now entered the final lap of this race, they've got a few more chances left to try and put a move on somebody. Have a look at Rizzo there. Trying to go for the move on his teammate Solowski, but Scott has really got that car hooked up in the mid-corner. Briggs has been passed by Gasol. Now, Dylan Shepherd is looking to try and get those sloppy seconds. My goodness, it's not quite successful initially, but he's managed to get a by at the kink. My goodness.
Yeah, a man who
race.
got to drive a Formula 4 car yesterday at Winton Raceway, if I'm correct. Now having pretty good run here as well. He's lost a couple spots from where he qualified, but it's coming together for him on the last lap.
Yep, definitely is. Dylan Shepherd can run free now, knowing that Briggs may not be able to put up much of a fight. Coming through the kink for the final time, but up the front, our race leader, John Peasnick, an excellent performance from him, did not crack under the pressure, and that is exactly the ingredients you need for a championship in this series. So Peasnick making his way over the line there. Checkered flag is out. He's going to take victory. Big congratulations to John Peasnick for that one.
Cody Birch is a big winner. 2nd place. Same with Silvassi getting 3rd. He's also up 5 spots from where he started. Trent Thomas doing all right. Scott Solowski too. Ross Rizzo, a little bit of what could have been for him, Reese Gasol and Dylan Shepherd. Solid drives within the top 10, and still going to be a couple of battles further down the order coming towards the finishing line as well.
Yes, indeed. We currently take a look at Richard Hunter and Gary Cousins right behind him there. Matt Huppert's trying to fight for this as well. These guys fighting down the lower ends of the field, currently around 25th and 26th, so actually more the midfield than anything else. But tell you what, it is definitely on. Cousins starting to face some intense pressure in these last few turns. Will he be able to make it and hold on to 26th position?
the rear left and the front right not looking in a good shape on that car, and it's kind of showing a good run out of the final corner for Huppets. Could do something.
Oh, this could really get interesting. They have that uphill run to the line. Huppets has the run. Gonna try and be followed by Stephen Bartholomew. Are they gonna get it done? No. Gary Cousins just holding them off. Great fight.
Indeed, this is Mitch McLeod doing a big recovery. I think he might have grabbed some positions towards the end. Certainly, he's a bit further down the order than he would have liked, but nonetheless, getting to the checkered flag in race 1 of tonight's running.
But how about this guy, John Peasnick? We do have another race coming up, guys. So sit tight, don't go away. We will come back shortly after with some more racing for you. But the results are up on screen at the moment. Peasnick taking the win from Bircher and Silvassi. Thomas Solosky and Rizzo continuing to make up the top 10 there. Reese Gasol and Dylan Shepherd. More what could have beens for these guys. And the top 10 rounded out by Adam Briggs and Anthony Winkleman.
11th place finisher in race 1 is Justin Strickland. 12th is Hayden Dodman. 13th, Ryan Jarek. Then Mark Rayner, Daniel Cheney, Mitch Martin, David Jellings, Pat Gallo, Reese Keane having a tough run of it in 19th. And 20th goes to Daniel Misdale.
A few seconds behind him, Jackson Harlow making his way up to 21st from a 39th place start. Good run. Phil Gadd also good. 22nd from 37th. David Farrelly, 23rd from 41st. Oh, so many good runs. Nathan Connor behind them. And of course, Richard Hunter, Gary Cousins, Matt Huppets, and Stephen Bartholomew in that order. The top 30 rounded out by Nichols and Kananze.
And I'll bring us home because 31st is Mitch McLeod. 32nd is Chris Polly. Then it's Cameron Stubber, Josh Andrew, Corey Ott. Tough one for him, saw some damage. 36th is Alex Court. 37th, Joshua Burton. 38th, Darren Huxham. 2 laps down, TJ Brown. Didn't mean that to rhyme. Aaron Farmer, we saw him have some weird issues. 3 laps down, gets 40th place. And then it's pretty well towards retirements here. David Mulhall, Brock Cadday, unfortunate for him. And then Nino Natale, 10 laps down. Well, that's race 1 in the books, but it's not tonight's running over by any means, is it, Reese?
No, absolutely not. We do have a second race of 20 minutes coming up for you very, very soon. Do not go away. You're watching the Alpinestars Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia on the iRacing Esports Network, presented by ourselves, SimSpeed TV.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Well, it's time to move on into the second half of tonight's proceedings here in the Alpinestars Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia. Now, we have had a first race tonight which saw some interesting driving from some people and quite a few carnage-filled incidents throughout the field. Reese Gardner once again here for SimSpeed TV, and David Haynes joining me in the commentary box. David, will race 2 be any better?
I imagine it will be somewhat better, but look at that hot track temperature, 42 degrees. Ooh. It's not gotten colder out there. In fact, we've gone from the first race was in morning conditions. Now we're in afternoon conditions. It's all heating up, and the action on track just might as well. But the starting grid for race 2 is the finishing order of race 1. So if you're someone like Anthony Winkleman or Reese Keane, who lost some positions in race 1, you've got even more work to do in race 2. But if you're someone like Jackson Suzlin-Harlow, who didn't have a qualifying time and then moved up 18 spots in race 1, well, you're starting a little bit closer to mid-pack in race 2. So it's a different different starting grid order, and that will play the race out differently as well. But yet again, it's another 20-minute race, no pit stop required.
Yeah, that's right. Usually the default format in these events is a single 45-minute race with a planned compulsory pit stop, but some people can end up making it on a full tank. Here, there is no requirement to pit for fuel, so strategy doesn't really come into it. It's all about how you can stay out of trouble, how cleanly and how hard you can race other people.
Just as I was talking about Jackson Suslan-Harlow as one to watch potentially moving up, it's a good thing he's using the warm-up before race 2 to test the limits of how hard he can brake.
Yeah.
I think into Canada corner it was. So he's just feeling out the new hotter track temperatures in race 2. Be a little bit less grit out there. I don't think we'll see anywhere near as many laps breaking into the 2-minute mark, because there's quite a few corners like this one where you're just struggling to get the car turned in. If you're Adam Briggs, you've got to wait a little bit longer, get the throttle open, but particularly the longer corners like turn 1 and like the carousel, those are all going to require a little bit more patience. And even the kink that we saw a few cars come a cropper in race 1, that's not going to be any easier this time around. All of the drivers will hopefully have learnt some patience from race 1, and that's what they're going to need in race 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Those hot track temperatures, as you said, David, inducing a lot more understeer in these cars than we would have had otherwise. But we do think that the drivers have it in them to take that little bit more of a patient route along this particular set of laps they're going to run. So as the session reaches its final minute, Piesnik has just come off from winning race 1, and it seems like he could try and do it again in race 2. But if you take a look at those times on the side of the screen, the right side of the screen, Winkelmann is not that far behind him, only 5 or 6 thousandths of a second separating those two in pure lap time.
If Winkelmann's going to try and take the win in this race, he's going to have a lot of work to do in what's going to feel like a very short amount of time, get past some of his teammates, but also get past, I think, Reece Gasol, also get past Cody Bircher. There'll be plenty of work for Anthony Winkelmann to do if he's going to get up there and once again take it to John Piesnik.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Piesnik is in an incredibly good position to take a double victory here, but as has been said and seen before, it's a series that is very action-packed, and anything can happen. Absolutely anything. Racing incidents, hardware failures, technical issues, the whole shebang can come true in this series and more. Well, with that, it's time to begin the second half of tonight's running, and we are going to have the starting grid up. It's basically exactly the same finishing order from race 1, so we won't go through it in too much detail. We've got it up here on the screen for you now. Piesnik and Bircher on the front row, the most important thing. Silvassi and Thomas are going to have an interesting time there, starting further up than they might have expected. Zalowski and Rizzo too, making a good backup team there for Trick Sim Sports, as we see Gasol and Shepard on the next row. Adam Briggs and Anthony Winkelmann running out the top 10.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers who had a poor run in race 1 gonna have to try and find some kind of redemption in race 2, as I think we'll just keep scrolling through your starting order, as you said, exactly the same as the finishing order that we said at the end of race 1. Once again, it will be a full pace lap before the pace car pulls in. The field will be under the control of John Piesnik.
Yes, indeed. Going through the rest of the field, the likes of Huppertz and Bartholomew, who had a very close finish in race 1. Nichols and Cananzi too. McLeod will want to have a bit more luck in this one. Brock Cat-Eye, unfortunately, not taking the start here. Corey Ott, Alex Court, and Josh Burden, 3 guys that we should look out for, particularly Ott and Burden. They should be much higher up than that, but they've had their own incidents in race 1. So, a slightly reduced field here tonight. We have 40 cars taking to the grid for race 2. And there's Piesnik in his Porsche 911 RSR. Cody Bircher alongside him. Bircher will be watching Piesnik intently when they come out of the last corner. Oh my goodness, there's been a problem for someone there. I think that's Ross Rizzo. Goodness me. What on earth is going on? Birch is around. This is not something that I was expecting. So, yeah, for some reason, Winkleman just sped up. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. No, that might be a technical issue there for Winkleman, because he was going at a pretty high rate of speed there versus the other guys, and yeah, it seems like there was some kind of technical issue there, making contact with his teammates, and wow, okay, Ben and Birch around.
Now I personally don't see Winkleman any longer out there, so that's bizarre issues, and hopefully we'll be able to get this race still going without too many problems to the other drivers out there. And I think we will be missing Anthony Winkleman from the start of this race. Look at Cody Bircher, actually had a pretty solid impact with the wall, and you can see the left rear, there's a little bit of damage there as well. So this is race control, definitely looking at what their options are, but I think this race will still go green this time.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. I mean, there's not really much that can be done about Winkleman, and everyone's just resuming their normal positions now. So I think the main victims are going to be the people that Winkleman inadvertently hit there, going to be carrying some damage to start off the race. Not ideal.
No, and you said it, unexpected things happen, and I thought unexpected things were going to happen after the pace car had pulled in and the green flag was waving. But there's drama aplenty, because we've seen some rather unexpected circumstances even before that.
Yeah, definitely thought we'd see some scintillating and controversial incidents happen while they were going at a fair rate of speed. Actually, I think this might be the first time in series history that we've had an incident on the pace lap, if I am not incorrect.
Certainly, it's new to me in these series and on SimSpeed TV. So, yeah, looks like we'll still get going this time. It's only really affected a few drivers, and it wasn't huge high-speed impacts either. I think most of those cars are actually okay, and they would have maybe picked up similar damage through the race regardless. Won't be happy, but we're going to go racing this time.
Yes, we are. Piesnik has control of the field. You can see Silovsky trying to look for a way through there in the background. Piesnik is away as they come up towards the top of the crest. A good jump from him. Bircher has managed to stay with him, but my goodness, it is getting mighty close. Further back for third, fourth, fifth and sixth. A nice clean start there up the front through turn one. It seems like most others are getting through the first couple of turns reasonably cleanly.
Solid lock up from Shepherd as he tries to get through on some of the trick boys. Who's gone around, Reese?
That's Rizzo, Ross Rizzo. He's had a spin there at turn two. My goodness, he's going all the way to the back of the field.
Has he just gotten spooked by the lockup from Dylan Shepherd, who was trying to make some moves early, still trying to do it, getting through on Gasul now as well is Dylan Shepherd. I don't know what happened to Rizzo, but he might have just gotten distracted by something.
It wasn't distraction or spooking, it was contact. From my end, Shepherd made a bit of side-by-side contact with Rizzo, and that set him loose. We'll go to a replay to have a proper look at it, though, see what the broadcast shows us. So Shepherd there making the move on Rizzo. A little bit of a lock-up, yes. Overshooting slightly and a little bit of side-by-side contact. That's what set Rizzo off.
Hugely unfortunate for our title defending man. We're going to get another angle of it here. This is a good one. They'll show us. So did Rizzo squeeze in too tight, or did Shepherd lock up, push out too wide?
The latter.
I think that was a reasonable amount of space given by Ross Rizzo, if we're honest.
Yeah, the latter I think is true. Unfortunately, that lock-up just sent Shepard a little wider than he would have wanted. Meanwhile, we got more problems, this time for Trent Thomas. Oh my goodness, and another car going around as well. I think is that Gasol? Gary Cousins. Sorry about that. You guys having lots of trouble there. My goodness. As I said in race 1, it is not a good day for Trek.
It's a good day for Dylan Shepard, though. He's loving these hot temperatures. He's trying to grab 5th place. Trying to grab 4th. He started in 8th. This time he's on the outside. Trick Sim Sports have maybe learnt their lesson from the first lap. Just keeping it ahead is Scott Slosky. He might not be so lucky this time. Shepard can't do it. And then he's got a big old mirrors full of Reese Gasol as well. Getting a good look at those flashing headlights.
Indeed. And look at that run that Shepard has got there. Good straight line speed from the Porsches. That Ferrari is a sitting duck with nobody to draft in front. And that is going to be move done there for Shepard. Meanwhile, it's Ferrari on Porsche. Hayden Dodman and Reese Gasol going side by side. Dodman is going to try and get that, and he will.
Yeah, all shaking around inside the top 10 right here.
Shepard! Goodness. That is a very awkward spot to go off into the grass. It's not over here, David. Gosilovsky smelling blood there as Shepard tries to get his rhythm back after following cars for a couple of laps. Joshua Andrew has been given a black flag. We're not quite sure why. We'll make sure to get that information to you as soon as possible. But John Peasnick leading, Cody Bircher in second. That is a move into the kink. That is not a place you usually make passes. Pat Gallo and Jackson Harlow battling very hard here. Harlow having to go almost all the way out to the right-hand side. Gallo defensive. That Ferrari in the middle of it all is Ryan Jarek, and my goodness, that's Gallo around, and there's more cars around out of the kink. The track almost blocked. Quite a few cars involved in that one. Stephen Bartholomew, so this is for this is from 30th position or so back.
I hope Farmer hasn't had another problem. Here comes your CPR parts replay. We're watching Farmer through the carousel. He's going to try and get a run. There's already cars up in the grass ahead of him.
Bartholomew and Huxham up in front of these guys. They had already had their incident there. Bartholomew goes spearing across the track and just collects them all.
Like they're Pokemon or something. Yeah, 4 cars involved in that. Bartholomew just sideways on the track, coming out of the kink and collecting just about everyone.
It just seems here is... Sorry, David. That's a replay there of Gallo's incident there as he spun around as we go back live. But I did notice Stephen Bartholomew did manage to was in front of Darren Huxham, but had a bad run through the. And then Huxham made contact with him. That's what caused that whole big incident there.
Alright, so now we are looking from Shepard, who's got his way up to 4th position, but then cannot shake all the pursuing cars. He's got a little bit of a Shepard train. Solosky, then Gasol, then Briggs, then Dodman, and just a teeny bit behind that, it's Mark Rayner and Justin Strickland, and that rounds out your top 10. So Shepard very quickly got his way from 8th to 4th. He's not getting away now, and the top 3 have sort of broken away as well.
Yeah, they certainly have. Lassie, Bircher and Peasnick in their own little consistent pack here at the moment. They've got a bit of breathing room, but Shepard is not. Oh my goodness, another one on the back straight, really. This time it's Reese Keane reversing back out onto the racing line. Gonna get a replay, see what happened there.
Bad race 1 for Reese Keane. A pretty poor race 2 already. This looks like he could have just well been all by himself. Instead, hot track and out wide, trying to keep wiggle.
Whoa! Okay.
Who was that launching the Porsche space program?
Richard Hunter. Oh
so
my
his
God.
teammate being caught up in this as well, and this isn't going to be pretty, folks.
Goodbye. Oh my goodness gracious me. And that certainly not optimal for either of those guys. But we take a look at Mitch McLeod, Dave Farrelly, Darren Huxman, David Mulhall. These guys all battling together in their own pack. Coming out onto, I believe that's the front straight. Oh, that's a problem. That's a problem for Reese Gasol, losing a couple of positions out of that one, vaulting into the air over that bump. Looks like he just overshot the braking zone. And now, under a lot of pressure from Justin Strickland, tell you what, Strickland has had a very good run in this event. I don't think he was quite expecting to be fighting in the top 10.
No, doing well in that Ferrari, which doesn't seem like it's necessarily the favoured car with the long straights around here as well. And I tell you what, green and black looks quite striking. I'm certainly a fan.
Yeah, certainly. It's a very striking livery, especially on a Ferrari. You don't usually see neon green on those things, but it's very welcome.
Unless it's Adam Koge, in which case, well, I'd have to then say that Justin Strickland is doing a much, much nicer job.
Yes, indeed. If it was Vadim Koge, please leave. Adam Briggs in 6th place, fighting here with Silovsky. And Briggs still continuing to run consistently. And we see this from his races in OSR Formula 3. Consistency is a big attribute of Adam Briggs' driving behavior, and he has managed to just stay there in the middle of the top 10, stay out of trouble, and positions just come to him.
Same in Formula 3 as well. I think that's really a great attribute indeed to have, as we see Strickland now around the outside of turn 1. He really has a bump there with Reese Gasol, who is trying to get his way through. Strickland doesn't want to give it up. He's going to maybe have a run back here as well. Gasol with those problems earlier, trying to make the spot up, doing everything he can to try and force the issue. And as that happens, who's that lurking behind? It's Jackson Susan Harlow, who's up 10 spots, but will have to serve a pit lane penalty. I'm not sure we saw what for, but he is going to have to at some point as Strickland comes back.
My goodness, these guys are doing the over-under in almost every corner now. Strickland and Gasol going side by side through this kink is not going to work. Can Harlow take advantage here? No, he cannot. Ryan Jerrick, tell you what, he is absolutely loving this.
Yeah, precisely. He had a huge run coming at these pack, and once again Gasol is off. Strickland's around the outside of the carousel. Susan Harlow is just going to get clear. We'll come back to a very late apex as well. And Ryan Jerrick is looking at a buffet in front of him because he's caught these guys quick.
Yeah, certainly has. And looking very strong as well. Have a look at the run that Jerrick has on Gasol through and on the exit of the kink. This could be a move at Canada Corner that we see. Oh my goodness, just not on the brakes late enough was Jerrick, and Gasol maintaining that momentum. Very nicely done from both of those guys to stay clean, but now Strickland has got a certain Harlow bearing down on him.
This looks like, who's that coming back up through the field? Trent Thomas is too wide through there. Just gets it because David Mulhall either has to back out of it or rather gets sort of forced out of it. And here comes Jackson Susan Harlow serving what I think is going to be a 15-second stop and hold. Worked his way into the top 10, and now it's all undone as we look at the top 5.
Yeah, it's a big shame for Harlow, but that top 5 definitely one of the cooler battles to watch on the racetrack right now. So Peacenik and Birch are there in first and second. That's Silvassi there in third, and then it's a big gap to Dylan Shepherd. They didn't even stay in the same camera frame, switching between them. But this battle, this little sub-battle, is where it truly is at. Adam Briggs and Scott Sislovsky fighting very hard, along with Hayden Dobman and Mark Rayner.
And that Ford, it's known for being maybe just a little bit lower to the ground, a little bit more aerodynamic. He uses some of the grass there as well. I can't help but feel like maybe the hotter temperatures are helping it a little bit more than the Porsches, which were rather strong in race 1. I feel like Briggs has got a lot more pace in race 2 than he did earlier, and I want to say that's because of the hotter conditions.
Yeah, definitely seems that way. It's almost like a switch has been flicked, and Briggs is looking especially strong in these warmer conditions. You know, he's not exactly making huge gains, but he's staying nice and consistent. Meanwhile, behind them, that is a move. Hayden Dodman getting passed by Mark Rayner. Looked like a very clean move.
And Rayner had to do a little bit of work on the exit to prevent Dodman trying to cross him back over under. But yeah, it looks good through Canada corner. Now if Dodman gets a good run out of the final corner, which he just might, these two have been separated from the cars ahead. Rayner's not going to get as much slipstream. Here comes Dodman, closing by the time they get to the top of the hill. Over the start-finish line, there's a lot of straight to go in towards turn one. Rayner's not going to defend it. Dodman might have this back.
Yeah, but wait for the over-under. Oh, Rayner, a little bit of contact on the rear, so no over-under for him. And
with all the way out in the dirt and the gravel on the exit of turn one, he's picked it all up, but he's lost some of the ground that he had. Here comes a replay, Reese.
Yeah, that's a crucial couple of car lengths that he's lost. We're taking a look at Aaron Farmer. That is another unfortunate issue for Farmer after his issues earlier on in the race. So here's Adam Briggs. Looks like it may have been an attempted move on Solovsky. Yeah, I think he at least having a look and then switching back over as Solovsky went defensive. But it just looks to me like he got caught on the marbles. No grip there, off the racing line, and off he went. So he's got a little work to do to catch back up, but he's making short work of it, I have to say.
They stayed in touch, and Reese Gasol still really struggling from what was a pretty pacey race one. I have to suggest maybe he's picked up a bit of diffuser damage on the pace lap, because that car looked very wobbly. He was slow through the kink a previous lap we were watching him. Now he nearly runs quite wide on the exit of the carousel. It looks like the rear of that car just has no confidence in through the high-speed stuff and on turn-in, and Briggs is closer now as well.
Yeah, Gasol's race is looking pretty second-hand, but Adam Briggs is first class right now. Have a look at him all over the back of Solovsky. Really fighting hard. Solovsky pushing incredibly hard to stay in front, almost going off the track. These guys certainly having at the time of their lives, we've just gone under 6 minutes to go, so they don't have much time to get themselves sorted. This race is absolutely flowing by, David. And I tell you what, I'm really enjoying this. Super defensive from Solovsky. Briggs with the run. Will he be able to get it done around the outside? No, he isn't. Just avoiding the wall. My goodness. Adam Briggs, that's some heroic stuff from him as Dodman finds himself in a bit of a fix.
Strickland, I think, in the background as well. Was it someone else? No, it was a yellow car. That means it was Mark Rayner. Everyone's going nuts in the last 5 minutes. That's going slow. He's not pulling it back onto the racing circuit. Has he had a problem? What has he done into turn 3?
Well, we're going to have a look here versus Hayden Dodman. Yeah, unfortunate contact there that spun Dodman around. So Rayner redressing that position, doing the sportsman-like gesture, and also the added benefit of getting no or reduced penalty from race control. That helps.
Yeah, bizarre one, though, nonetheless. I don't quite know what to say to that one.
It just seems like it was a spirited move gone awry, unfortunately, but they've managed to continue on. No great casualties from that.
Look at this, Daniel Cheney having a seriously good race to be challenging for 11th position. He's been very consistent in this series. This isn't his first season, but this is good to see him right up here, and he's seriously going to have a challenge at Dodman. He looks to the inside of Canada corner, not this time, but really stepped up his game in the last couple of rounds, I would say.
Yeah, certainly has. Really impressive performance from him here, running in 13th. A little bit of damage on that machine, but he does look like he has the pace to really fight with Dolman and Kananzi here. Speaking of Kananzi, he did have an issue earlier on in the lap. I've just noticed a car has spun around out of the last turn. Mitch McLeod. That's some fairly heavy damage on that thing, and it looks like he did it all on his own. So Solowski and Briggs continuing at this fight for 5th place. Top 5 for either of them at stake here as they come down the straight. Tiny bit of contact. That's something that always happens at Road America with the track bending the way it does. Solowski keeps it in front, but Briggs trying the over-under, but not able to get it done. He doesn't have the traction.
Briggs tried to
the inside.
cross that one back, and Solowski saw it coming. Got another move going on back here. It's got to be Corey Ott, because I think he's the only Team Bushvink racing car in the field, and from a horror race 1 that he had, he is up 24 places into 9th position. This battle for the top 5 though, this is our highest up battle. 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th all a little bit strung out. 5th place though, Briggs has been trying lap after lap after lap to get past Solowski. He's had some good opportunities, but the Trick Sim Sports drivers just placed that Ferrari in all the right spots, and once again Briggs is closing up quick through the kink, quick through the high speed corners in the Ford, quick in a straight line as well. Solowski keeps it to the inside for Canada corner. Briggs has had trouble braking around the outside before. Again, he'll try and
the run!
Nowhere to go.
The run, though! Look, he's going to try and feed it up the inside, not able to get it done. Oh, this is crazy stuff. Bird to turn in from Briggs. Solowski with a bit of a narrower line, and this is going to be it. This is going to be the slipstream. My goodness, what a battle this is. Pleasure to witness. It's white flag, everybody. This could decide the top 5. Adam Briggs up into 5th place, just briefly drawing clear of Solowski, but Scott is going to try and come back. No! Briggs just manages to get it around the outside of turn 1, but he's made another mistake. And it's been Briggs making the majority of the mistakes in this battle.
He squeezes Solowski onto the grass through turn 3, but they get to turn 2. They get to turn 3, and Briggs has done it. But can Solowski do anything to get it back? Doesn't look like the Ferrari's been quite as strong in a straight line. It looks like it brakes well. It looks like it accelerates well off the corner. You see, it closes up a lot, turns in well through turn 5. Here comes Jarek on Ott. Ott has got the race of his life to keep those 2 Ferraris behind him.
Certainly, Jarek almost going up the inside there, but Ott covers him. So Briggs and Solowski, meanwhile, they have been sorted, but that battle with Ott at the epicenter, certainly interesting. Solowski off. I think the pressure might have finally gotten to him. Meanwhile, Ott, Jarek, and Strickland. This could go down to the wire between these 3. Looking quite interesting there. And a hell of a run from Ott, I have to say. Fantastic job from him. But I think even more fantastic, David, is our leader, Piesnik. He is going to take a double victory here. Absolute A+ result.
Yeah, he was nearly 5 seconds clear in race 1. He's only 1.3 seconds clear of Bircher in race 2. He's had to work hard for this one, but you can't say John Piesnik didn't deserve this win. The 2 second place finishers from Bircher, nothing to sniff at. Silvassi leads the Trick Sim Sport cars home. Dylan Shepard will get 4th place. Briggs will get that 5th. Gasul is doing everything he can towards the finish line to try and grab a spot away from Solowski. Can't do it. Battles a little bit further back potentially, like Matt Hoppert's, Ross Rizzo, Mitchell McLeod, and TJ Brown. This is one that's coming out of the final corner. Rizzo drops to the back of the grid on turn 3, lap 1. Fought his way back here to 16th. I don't think he's going to get another one. 17th, I should say. I don't think he's going to get another one at the line, but he tried.
Very close between those 2. My goodness. That's the kind of stuff that we really like to see, those uber close finishes. But what does this do in the context of the championship? Let's have a look at this battle, though. Chris Polly and Josh Andrew fighting very hard at Canada corner. It seems like he might have just gotten that.
I think it's quite slow from Polly. I think Huxham's well and truly come through and got that one on the last lap. Really coasting looking Porsche there. There's Josh Andrew behind. Here's Alex Court for DPR Racing. Only a couple more cars left on the lead lap, including Richard Hunter. So great job in the top 5 for Adam Briggs for DPR Racing. Some of his teammates a little further down the order, but it's still not done, Reese.
No, certainly not. Pat Gallo and Stephen Bartholomew here having a very nice battle coming into the last couple of turns, and Pat Gallo had his fair share of issues in this one, but managing to stay within the top 30. I'd say that's about as good a result as he could expect from that one, and fair play to him for getting it across the line in the end. Here are the results. John Peasnick with a double victory. Cody Bircher finishing second. Really good job from him despite the damage he took on the pace lap. Martin Salvasi and Dylan Shepherd with Adam Briggs taking P5 in a titanic battle with Scott Silovsky, Reese Gasul and Corey Ott. Wow, what a run from Ott. Started 33rd, finishing 8th. Fantastic job from him. Top 10 rounded out by Ryan Jarek and Justin Strickland.
11th place finisher is Hayden Dodman. 12th is Brett Cananzi. 13th, Daniel Cheney. 14th, Trent Thomas. One of the disappointing Trick Sim Sports runs. 15th, Mark Rayner. 16th, Matt Hoppett. 17th, Ross Rizzo. Not what he needed to mount a title defense. 18th, Mitchell McLeod. 19th, TJ Brown. And 20th goes to David Mulholland.
David Farrelly takes 21st, while Laser Racing's Gary Cousins is in 22nd. Jackson Suslin Harlow. Unfortunate for him, he was having a good run, but a penalty put him back. Reese Keane and Darren Huxham as well. Chris Polly, unfortunately, going slow across the line. Josh Andrew and Alex Court, 27th and 28th in the top 30, rounded out by Richard Hunter and Stephen Bartholomew, who decided that battle amongst themselves.
Yeah, Pat Gallo in 31st, the last car on the lead lap. And then from there on down, we're basically into retirements because Paul Nichols in 32nd place was 2 laps down. David Jellings 4 laps down in 33rd. Then Aaron Farmer, technical problems again for him. Hopefully he'll be back next round with that sorted. Fingers crossed for him. 35th, Cameron Stubber. 36th, Daniel Misdale, also retirement. Nino Natale, once again, a retirement in 37th place. And then Anthony Winkleman, Mitch Martin, and Joshua Burden, losing all of them on the pace lap.
Yes, indeed. And that comes to an end, our proceedings for tonight. Thank you all very much for watching. This was certainly an entertaining round of the Alpinestars Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia. I really enjoyed that, David.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, you can always count on this series for action and some very solid grids. Quite a few drivers in the AusNZ community racing some other places tonight, but we still got, I think, 43 cars for race 1 and 40 on the grid for race 2. And it's just a fact that if you have that many cars on the grid in 2 sprint races, there'll be plenty to look at, plenty to talk about. And I tell you what, for a round of the Alpinestars Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia, it's a good one for John Peasnick. He's in the hunt once again to potentially take a title in this series. We'll have your standings next round, but it can't be at all even close to decided. This is going to come down once again to the last round of the season. I will bet anything on it.
Yep, absolutely. I cannot wait for that. Well, we are going to have to wait, unfortunately, a week before the next round of the series. It is same time next week, Wednesday night. So make sure to be there for it. The fun doesn't stop on SimSpeed TV, though, both on the iRacing Esports Network and on our own channel. Tomorrow, we've got the Oceanic Sim Racing Formula 3 Championship over on our channel. Sunday, we have the first round of the Virtual Racing School V8 Supercar Online Premier Series on the iRacing Esports Network, 250 kilometers at Montreal. Get amongst it. Monday, we've got the official iRacing V8 Supercar Series at the same track, of course, presented by Aussie Driver Search. And next week, we have Wednesday Rallycross and this Sprint Series Australasia. We hope to see you all there for that. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And from SimSpeed TV and the iRacing Esports Network, we will see you next time.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney! Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?